You're back in the shop with me, guys, and this week on the channel we're going to build a jewelry plaque for my wife. Stick around. I'm Stoner Ericson from Ericson Design Company, and let's build something. Ta-da! To get started, I'm going to head right over to my scrap wood pile. I found this piece of Russian birch. I think it'll work perfectly. Now over at my table saw, I've actually added a router table to the end of it. This is just an old router table I had and I made it fit in this Delta table saw. So I'll take off the fence for that, I'll lower the blade, and then I'm going to cut this down to about 19 by 23 and a half. At the X carve, I'm going to add some blue tape to the top of this. I'm going to do a carve on it that says Beauty Queen with a 60-degree V-bit, and I want to be able to paint down in the carve so that it really sticks out and my wife knows she is a beauty queen. I'll go ahead and screw it down, and then I'll go ahead and home the machine. Homing the machine like this brings it right to the exact point of home based off the little sensors. Now when I'm doing multiple carves with multiple bits, I'm able to home it back to the exact point. I'll change the bit to that V carve, then rehome it, and then I'm going to set the probe. Now this is going to set the distance so that the machine actually knows what the material thickness is. Then I'll press play, and let's get to carving. If you like fun and creative videos like this, hit that subscribe button. Do it, and do it now. Plus guys, leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you and I'll totally comment back. Also, follow me on my other social medias, TikToks and Instagram. I do previews to all these projects and it's a great way to stay in the loop. While this was carving, I was kind of designing on the fly, so I'm going to throw a little tray carve in next. But you can see how nice this carve came out, and now I'll be able to paint down into those carves and make it stand a little proud. So I'll set up my second carve and get that carving, and then I'm going to move over to painting that inside carve. Now I have this little spray booth that's in my shop. I've used it. This is the second one I had. The first one I just destroyed. I used it so much, just gallons of paint, painting white shoes and all kinds of stuff. The cool thing about this is there's a fan attachment that goes to the back and you put a little air filter on it and it doesn't get any of that overspray anywhere in the shop. It really works really well. I was skeptical at first when I bought it. I was going to buy a bigger one, but this is the size I need for my shop because I do a lot of cutting boards and smaller stuff. So the bigger stuff I paint outside. So I'll flip that fan on and then I'll actually get down in and paint the actual carving, the inside of the carving. And you can see there's a little overspray coming onto the wood, and I'm going to sand that off a little bit later. I do go a little heavy with this yellow, and I kind of wish I would have used a burgundy or a turquoise, but it is what it is. Now I'm going to pull off the tray it's been carving, and I'm going to pull out my Dust Right dust collection system, and I'm just going to vacuum up the dust. There's something so satisfying to me about vacuuming up dust. I don't know what it is. I just love to vacuum up dust. Guys, I always kind of forget to say this. If you like the music on this channel, there are links in the description below of where I get it. It's local to this channel, and it's some freaking awesome music. So check out those links. If you like it, leave me a comment about the music. I'd love to hear that from you. Next, we're going to move over to my main workbench, and I'm going to sand and break all the corners of the tray. And down in the carve, because I use that 1/8 inch bit, it kind of leaves a little swath, and I want to sand that out so it's nice and smooth. And all the edges and corners, I'll break those with 220 grit. As you guys know, sanding is one of the most important parts of woodworking, so don't forget to sand and break all the edges. Next, I'm going to pull off the tape of the carve. This is one of my favorite things to do. Now, the carve has been drying for about an hour, and so it's a little damp, but it's well enough to take it off and well enough to sand it without letting sandpaper get stuck or dust get stuck down into the carve. I'm going to move over to the table saw and I'm going to cut this bad boy down to 18 inches by 23 inches. It's a nice size and I think it should hold all of her jewelry. Now when I was editing this video, I noticed that I need a freaking haircut. My hair has gotten so long and out of control and it's so hot in Texas, so I really do need to get a haircut. If anyone agrees with that, comment haircut in the description below. Cutting off all four sides, so I make sure to cut off the actual screw holes I use to hold it down to the X carve. And then next I'm going to head over and I'm going to pull out the Jet 1632 drum sander. If you want to know what I think about this drum sander and how I use it and what it does in my shop, I have a video, check out this card right here. It has become one of my favorite tools in the shop because it's just easy to pass it through here. You can see how the actual board is, because it's longer than 16 inches, hangs out, and I'm able to equally sand that overspray right off and also sand down into the carve, so it's like super pristine, super nice. Next, I'm going to lay out where all my hooks are going to go. I'll use this little pattern tool. It makes equal spacing. And I'll hop over to the table saw and I'm going to cut a piece down to 2.5. And I'm going to use that to come across it and kind of lay out where I want the hooks. I'm doing this on the fly. This isn't something I'm designing. I'm designing it as I go, basically. And I'll take a little drill bit and I'll drill out where my marks are, and then I'll sand off my pencil lines, and then I'll start placing my hooks. After using my fingers to screw a few of the hooks in, I just took one of the hooks and chucked it up in my drill, and this makes a quick way to drill them down in there. I'll get them started and then kind of drill down in there. The whole idea of this channel is basically idea, design, and build, and my wife had the idea for this. I kind of designed it, and now I'm building it. In the design, I thought I would throw a couple little dowels in to hold bracelets and stuff like that, kind of sticking out. You know, designing the little tray on the bottom kind of came along as I was doing it away. So I'm kind of on the fly doing this. And if you like videos where you're just kind of having ideas, designing them and building them and having an end product, leave me a comment and subscribe. I know I've asked you guys to do that a couple times in this video, but I'd like to see you leave a comment and say, I like stuff like this. So I'll just take a little super glue and my dowels and I'll place them in there, kind of lining them up straight. Next, I'll just kind of lay out the bottom of how I want it to go. I'm leaving a 5/8 inch gap off the back of it because it's going to sit in the closet. So I'm going to mark that, and I'm going to use a little bit of super glue just to kind of hold it on there. You know, just to kind of let it set up. I'll let it set up for about 10 minutes. Use a little CA glue on the back, you know, tighten that up a little bit. And then I'm going to throw some screws from the bottom up into it to hold the tray on. The screws will be plenty strong to hold bits and bobs of jewelry and whatnot. I'll break the edges and, you know, kind of give it one last little sand, throw the middle screw in, and then I'm going to think about how I want to finish this. I thought about using a spray lacquer, spray polyurethane, but what I went with was some leftover walrus oil. You know, and that's going to give it a nice sheen, it's going to give it a lot of protection, and when it dries out all the way, it'll be like a butcher block, so it won't be rubbing off on any of the jewelry or something like that, but it'll kind of let the wood be the wood. And in woodworking, you don't really want to, or I tend to, as I get older, not want to cover up the natural beauty of this wood. This is a Russian birch I used to make some couches. I made 2 sets of couches, and so I really want to let that Russian birch shine. It grew for, you know, 50, 60 years, so I want to see the grain and the pattern. But I'll rub it on liberally and rub it off, get it off all of the little pieces of hooks and metal, and boy, did it ever come out super nice. One of my subscribers commented that they'd like to see a little bit longer shots of the end product, so here it is. She loves it, and I love making her happy. Easy project. Now, did I ever learn some things along the way on this process? This is a little modular, so my wife can set it up any way that she likes. And I also learned that my hair was way too long, so I had to get a haircut. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video with someone you like. I'm Stoner Ericson from Ericson Design Company, and we built something. Ta-da!